Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus, and welcome to this week's live Q&A. So big hello and welcome to everyone that's joining in, either if you're watching live or if you're watching on demand afterwards. So each and every week I answer questions from our Patreon and YouTube channel members. They've been able to submit questions in advance, plus also YouTube channel members can join in right now in the live chat. We've got quite a few people already in there. So we've got Miles, Sasuna, Baba Trolling, Keenan, Caleb, and Matt. So hello to all of you. You can also help support the channel with using Super Chat function. So you can send in questions that way. Being a member or using Super Chat really helps support the channel and the website and allows me to continue to do what I do. So your support really does make a massive amount of difference. So we got a lot of questions today. A lot of them kind of obviously related to the launch of ESPN on kind of Disney Plus, essentially a kind of a rebirth. So if you've got any questions or anything about that, feel free to pop them in. So let's start off with the one kind of at the top. So the Hollywood Reporter, according to Caleb, said that ESPN will be used to boost Disney Plus, which tells me they're pushing the Disney Plus ESPN bundle big. What do you think? So feel free to let me know what you guys think of this as well. So there is no point in denying the fact that the launch of ESPN on Disney Plus, the new streaming version, is a big deal. It is a big push forward. It's a massive step from leaving cable, so you can kind of get over into a load of other content. And I think generally this is a great way for increasing engagement for Disney Plus, in reducing churn, because if you've got the bundle and you're accessing the live sports. Now, some people might use the ESPN hub, some people might use or the app, or some people might use Disney Plus, because you can use it for either or. It's your choice. And I think, again, it's just an extra boost. Plus, there's a lot of extra content in there with the ESPN Plus, which is now ESPN Select. And obviously, as well, a certain amount of content is available through ESPN just generally for all subscribers. So I think we're going to start seeing more blurring of the lines, but they're going to want to start pushing you onto that unlimited tier, which is the more expensive one. Personally, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the select tier is gone maybe within 6 months to a year. Depends on how many people move up from ESPN Plus that go up to the full ESPN, or maybe people that got ESPN Plus because they had cable and they wanted access to everything, and now they maybe don't need it, because that could be the other thing as well. They can kind of judge it and people might dropping it in and out. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if ESPN Select eventually disappears. Now, Bob Iger has previously said that he wants to reduce the number of SKUs available. And for that, that means the amount of options, the amount of bundles. And I think when you've got Disney Plus and Hulu get merged together, probably maybe same time we could see maybe ESPN Select kind of fully integrate into Unlimited, and therefore they can just do the bundle of Disney Plus with ESPN, and they can offer like the ad tier, and I think that will come eventually, but within a year. It's going to take time. Unfortunately, Disney doesn't like seeming to try and move the wheel too much. It doesn't like to shake things up. I think they sometimes feels a bit like they're trying to keep their existing what they're doing, and everything feels very slow and deliberate. They don't like just ripping the Band-Aid right off. They just tend to like to slowly easing it off so people don't notice so much. So that's definitely what I think. But I 100% think you're going to see a lot of push for the ESPN Disney Plus bundle, because that's good for all over it. Let's see here. Big thank you to Miles for your super chat. Thank you so much for your continued support. You are awesome, and I really, hopefully you've had a fantastic time. Hopefully you enjoyed your Norwegian cruise. I hope that was really cool. I'm hoping that we're planning on going to Norway again next year. Do you think that Pixar's 32nd film feature, Gato, will be positioned as a major event film? If so, please explain the reasons for us. I think generally Disney always positions Pixar films as their big movies of the summer. I did actually watch Elio for the first time this afternoon, and it was okay. It was very like meh. I wasn't blown away with it, and I can see why it just didn't click with people. It just was a bit bland. You kind of see where it was going a mile off. Yeah, I wasn't really too sure. I think generally, no, Disney will be very much more sort of skeptical of getting fully behind anything that's non-original, or so that isn't original, because just the audience just is very slow to the uptake, unless the trailers and the buzz before it starts picking up a little bit. But they will push it. They probably have learned a little bit from Elio and stuff as well, but that might also impact on the budget for the advertising, so they might calm it down a little bit. But hopefully that kind of gives you an idea for that one. Aaliyah says, based on what you've seen, perhaps including the ESPN Disney themselves, how did the premiere of ESPN direct-to-consumer go? I mean, like, it does seem like it's, well, I mean, I wouldn't say there was I didn't feel like there was a massive swell of interest. I just feel like I think there's still been a little bit of confusion when I look on like social media. A lot of people are not really getting what it is. A lot of people are not happy with the price of it as well. I think $30 feels a lot for a streaming service nowadays. And yeah, sports fans, yeah, I don't know. I think cable fans obviously are there. You know, if you're a cable subscriber, you're getting it. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's great. That's a nice little bonus. And so that's good. So they're happy. But I'm not. It's going to be interesting to see how this works out, what the numbers are going to be, how many people are going to be interested in it. From what I've seen of like the interest in the articles, there seems to be a little bit of interest in it, but I don't know. It does seem like a little bit of a weird little launch, because again, I don't think the idea of it just being ESPN and you're subscribed to it, it makes sense of how they've branded it. But again, I think Disney's been very complicated with this whole thing of having, if you're on a certain cable company, you get it. If you're on another cable company, you don't get it. And ESPN Plus, and people not knowing that ESPN Plus is different. There's a lot of convoluted rubbish that I think they really needed to be much more clearer on. Hopefully things will continue, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel from it. Tim asked, ESPN has picked up the US Open TV rights in New Zealand. Could more tennis tournaments go to ESPN? I think maybe so. I think it depends on what rights. They're really kind of going into get as much sport as they can. They realize that there is a market there, and and also as well, ESPN does get the rights then to, you know, those will be on the cable networks in Australia and New Zealand as well. Keenan says, I heard a rumor that says there was a Big Hero 6 live action remake might be in development. If you're wondering what the source is, it was from a comic book resources Facebook page. I haven't heard anything myself of any rumors. The trouble is, again, Facebook, especially now, does seem to be leading. There's so much clickbait and fake news because it just gets interest. I don't think they would do a Big Hero 6 live action, because the movie did all right. It didn't do amazingly well, but also they're trying to rescue Marvel. So their answer would be to throw another superhero movie into it. And Big Hero 6 isn't new. I mean, it's great to be literally behind the camera. I've got a great big Baymax action figure. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Matt says Netflix got a new look on the home screen. Yeah, I was using it earlier. We started watching Hostage yesterday, a new British series. And it was nice as well being able to watch SmackDown this week live. So that was good because it was in Dublin. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure it's good or not. In one way, it's a bit smoother and it does seem to work nicely, but I wasn't 100% blown away with it. Let's see what we've got here in the live chat. Let's see what we've got going on here. Matt asked, after Hulu is fully emerged in Disney Plus, what will Disney do next? I think they're going to be going on a big spending spree for the sports side of things. I think once they get the Hulu and Disney Plus, and they need to, let's give them a few years to kind of get all that sorted, get all that organized, get what they're doing, and kind of get that on track. We've got to give them a little bit more time once they've done all that, rather than jumping in. And there is a question as well of how many more acquisitions and stuff can they do. I think there's rumors of maybe MLB. They seem to be going heavily into sports right now. I don't know if there's much they can do. I mean, maybe I don't think they could go for I don't think they could go for another merger. I don't think they're in a good position. I think they've just got to knuckle down. And I don't think buying anything up is the quick fix that IG's used so many times, and I'm not sure that can work at the moment. I think they've actually just got to knuckle down. I think they need to just get stuff done and get stuff good again, and do more stuff at the parks, do more stuff for cruise lines, do more better shows, better movies, and just get better. I think that's, yeah. Kelly says ESPN is a major boost for Disney Plus because it makes Disney Plus a well-rounded app. From its humble origins as a Disney library service, now it's got Hulu and ESPN. There's definitely a kind of there's a little bit of people that aren't happy with everything going in there, and they want Disney Plus to go back to being a baby service, and that's going to be hard for them to kind of get over that and get people used to the fact that you can watch Alien Earth and NFL football on Disney Plus, because people don't associate that, and it's taken a long time for that. That's going to take years to get out of it, and yeah, you're just going to see it all. It's going to take a while for people to get used to it. I think the only disargument about the fact of the ESPN stuff is the idea that you're having to pay extra for it, whereas a lot of the sport is included in some of the other streaming services. But I don't know, it's a bit weird. Okay, so my guess is Disney will expand Disney Plus into other countries. It's not president, and expand the ESPN brand on Disney Plus to reclaim its worldwide leader, Monarch. I think the ESPN on Disney Plus globally is a big thing. I think that's definitely more streamlined. I think that to get ESPN, as you said, a bigger brand globally. I don't know about expanding into other countries. It does seem like that all got put right on the back burner. Keenan says, if you get the ESPN flagship, you should get more content than ESPN on Disney Plus. I mean, you would think so with the cost of it. But again, the thing is with ESPN is they're renting the content rather than making new stuff. Kay did a blog post talking about it. The gist of it is there's no massive, just little features. I think that's definitely a good thing for it. Elias says, for those on the ESPN direct-to-consumer select plan, if your prediction comes true, that will go away. What did you think will happen to those on it? What will happen with it? I think again they're gonna get to a point where how many people are on the select plan, because it's going to reach a point where they are going to have so many people on it to make it worthwhile doing before fully just integrating it. So let's say, I don't know, say they're like, right, we need 1 million people on it. And it drops to 800, 700, 600, and it just keeps dropping. It will reach a point where they're like, look, this is just not worth the effects, not worth all the costs of running it, all the admin, all the rest of it. And therefore, that's when they would pull the trigger. So that's when it would have to drop below a certain number before they pull the trigger on that, I would imagine. And again, give people time, because if they end up seeing most people on an ESPN Select plan upgrading to the full version, that number is going to drop even quicker. I also think there's the other interesting thing as well of how they promote the bundles moving forward. If they start promoting the bundles of Disney Plus and then Disney Plus with ESPN Select, are they even going to bother doing advertising the Select bundle? Do they slowly start not offering it? I think that's probably going to happen with Hulu at some point as well, where that bundle, where they are just going to stop offering Hulu as a solo option, and then you have to get the bundle. I don't know. I suspect there's going to be a threshold of when the subscriber numbers drop enough that it's no longer viable. Miles says he returned from Norway. I visited Oslo thanks to the sightseeing around the world. And oh yeah, it should. I've always wanted to visit Oslo. It's a lovely place. I heard. That's what I'm looking forward to. Kelly said Elio didn't pull an Elemental. I know Fantastic Four is pulling an Elemental due to the box office competition and slowing down. Yeah, I think they've got a little bit more of a runway, and also there's a little bit more interest, I think, with it being kind of the last big Marvel movie before the next event or Spider-Man movie. So they've got a little bit of that. But yeah, Elio, it just was meh. Actually, I think in all honesty, if you told me that was a DreamWorks movie, I could have believed it. I didn't feel Elio was Pixar quality. It was a bit generic. I don't know. It just was a bit. It was okay. I wasn't blown away with it. The fact that that was a Pixar movie that didn't really pull on my heartstrings either. I didn't care for the character. I mean, the little blob was probably more better than the human. Babak says, how many subscribers do you think ESPN will have in its first quarter? No idea, and we probably will never know. We will not know because Disney are no longer going to be giving us information on that anymore. So we won't know that information. Mars says, continuing on from the super chat, I do think that Gato, which is a blend of hand painted and CGI, will be the decade's Lion King, which was released. I think that's a very you're setting it up for a very, very big expectation for that. I think if you're expecting it to do like the Lion King, and when I think of the Lion King as a success, we're talking here of how that movie spawned multiple sequels. It's did a live action remake, which was billions of dollars, a second live action movie, theme park attractions around the world, stuff on the theme, the Broadway show. I think I would very much be aware of set expectations for Gato much, much lower. I think saying it's going to be like the Lion King is really difficult. I would hope more something like Up or WALL-E. That would be where I would want a new Pixar movie to be in, where it does well enough, but over time becomes a very popular character and builds over time and kind of gets into the psyche of being a really good movie. That would be what I would expect for a Pixar movie. Aaliyah says, I read reading somewhere, I think it was Park, that Disney purposely made it pricey-ish because they didn't want to upset the cable providers too much, wish to avoid a voodoo type lawsuit, I guess. Yeah, there's definitely a case of they do not want to upset the cable business. They are trying to wring as much money out of that as humanly possible. And yeah, I think that's just fundamentally where it's going, of they want to keep that cable customs going while it's still making the money. Again, as those numbers keep dropping, because I think this month the Nielsen Gorge indicated that like streaming viewership is now about to hit 50%. So cable is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller month by month by month by month. So in 5 years' time, then they can make a big change to cable, to how it works. Kelly says, I better be careful about what articles are reading. Definitely, there's so much clickbait around. That's the problem. And especially on social media, there's a lot of it. Babak says, I just traveled to Canada and it showed me how important a global platform is. My Disney Plus experience was so different while Netflix stayed the same. I suppose if you've gone up from America to Canada, yeah, you're going to feel that how much Disney Plus is different, because you've locked the Hulu tab is very different with the Star Hub, and how there's no ESPN. And if you've got used to having all that Hulu content in Disney Plus, that's a big shock. Yeah, for me, like if I went on to Disney Plus in Canada, it didn't do anything differently. I think when we were there last year, when we logged on and I kind of streamed through into the TV, it wasn't really any different. But obviously the American version is very different. But you're in Canada, it's beautiful up there. Well, I said, additionally, do you think that Pixar's Gato will start its theatrical run in cities such as New York a week before its wider release? Probably not. I think they'll just do a global release. Miles, make sure the articles are generating the app. Chris says, I would like to get ESPN, but having Disney Plus Hulu Max and adding ESPN would be nearly $60, which seems a bit pricey. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's all going to come down as whether or not you think that the value is there for what you're watching. Disney Plus and Hulu together. Yeah, it is a lot, isn't it? It is definitely a lot. And Chris, thank you so much for your super chat as well. I have no idea why people are complaining about the price of ESPN. All they have to do is get Hulu Live TV. That is a very good thing there about, it's like with what just the other Chris just said. Maybe getting cable actually might start being a cheaper alternative, because you start looking at it going, well, hold on a minute. If I get cable and I get Disney Plus and Hulu and HBO and Paramount and Peacock and and ESPN Actually, is that a better offer? Because you get, if you're going to get a streaming service, get that way, you get all those access to all those streaming services. It might be a better option. But yeah, getting Hulu Live TV might be a cheaper alternative than getting all of those different versions. But again, thank you so much for your support, Chris. Thank you so much. Bubba Trolling says, why did Hulu Live ESPN Unlimited super weird? Hulu Live saying it includes ESPN Select. Yeah, it's a bit weird because I would have thought ESPN Live does include ESPN. So yeah, you would think. I don't know what that is. That's a bit odd. Oh, here we go. Ken said the wording is a little weird. Hulu Live TV, however, I can access the ESPN Unlimited live streams on Disney Plus. I won't be too bothered. I think there must be a few little words. There must be something that's a bit of a mixed up. I agree with you that Gatto could become this decade's up. That's what I would. To me, that's what I think is the best thing for it. Would be then a much loved characters that stand the test of time and does well, and people love it. That would be the best way of doing it, I think. Right, let's get back into some of the pre-done questions. Feel free to keep sending in your live chats and super chats, etc. Miles says, what's your opinion on Hex, the new film from the Coyote Acme director David Gree and David Grabsky? Not gonna lie, I have no idea, to be honest. I haven't seen either of those two movies, so I don't know really what there is. I think this was on my to-do list, and I completely forgot. The ESPN launch this week. There was so much stuff to write about that anything else that kind of came in around it got a little bit lost. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have any idea on what that one is. Let's just have a look. Disney Hex. I totally missed this one. Oh, so it's a 20th century film, and let's have a look. What's the story about? Details are being kept secret, but under the traveler's hat, but does include dark magic coming to an already unusual town. Okay, not really too sure. That was very vague as a description, so it's a little hard to kind of get too excited about that one. Babak says, how do you think the launch of ESPN's direct-to-consumer went? I mean, I think it seemed to go quite well. There was a lot of buzz around it. There wasn't a lot of negativity. I mean, other than the price and a little bit of confusion. I don't think it helped with I think it's just the price of it. I think you've got a lot of people questioning the price of everything, and that's the only negative I really saw for most people was just the price of it. There wasn't a huge amount of in my streams and comments and stuff. There just didn't seem to be a lot of interest in ESPN much at all, to be fair. It was some people liking it, and obviously as well, it's very much US centric. So the rest of the world, I don't know. It might change over time, but it didn't feel like there was a lot of negativity, and it certainly didn't feel like the excitement of like when the hubs originally launched. It kind of, I think people just got used to the idea a little bit more. Aaliyah says, what information we'll be looking for during the next quarterly result to determine if the direct-to-consumer version is a success? I suppose if they actually give us any details of how it went, because they'll probably want to pump up what they're doing. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that at the next one is maybe when they do a little bit more on that Hulu side and kind of clear up what's happening there. But again, they're not going to be giving us quarterly results anymore, so they might try and give us some idea of it to try and pump the stock a little bit. But again, one quarter is probably not quite enough really for them to they'll give us some hype about how well it's done, to have to compare it with numbers that we can't compare to anybody else, and therefore it looks like it could be a win, but it could be bad, because they're really good at giving us weird numbers which you can't really connect. Mamo says, with the launch of ESPN Unlimited on Disney Plus, they also added a live tab. Do you think that then when Disney either adds ABC or their cable channels? So my guess is, because that live tab going in on the top, my gut bet is that will allow them to incorporate more streams, they can start expanding on that service, especially when Hulu comes in. They can put in more there, and that's either going to allow. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's where they can then chuck in Fubo or Hulu Live TV. That whole section now gives them a whole area where they could put all those channels in, and you can access Hulu Live TV or Fubo through that. And also, like I said, expand the streams. It gives it a whole new area, whole new place now for them to do it. Babak says Bob Iger wants to simplify the SKUs, but now there's an FX, Fox One bundle, an NFL bundle, Disney Plus bundle, and others. Do you think it makes it more confusing? 100%. 100% makes it more confusing. The trouble is, there's this catch-22, isn't it? Because if they did a bundle where it was NFL, Fox One, and Disney Plus, and all the rest of it, it's probably going to get too expensive. They're just trying to give people options. I think if you're a big sports fan and this is what I think they're looking for, is people that might go, you know what, I'm getting rid of cable and I'm just going to get Fox One and ESPN and I'm getting rid of cable. And that's who they're. I think that's the big difference. Bubba Trolling says, what do you think if Disney put a sport on Disney Plus on other networks like FX or Freeform and use the ABC brand? Well, I think it would make sense if they have to. I think that would make sense if they could do. I think they do put a little bit sometimes on like Disney Channel. Mahmoud also asked, with 2026 approaching, do you think Disney will still have to send their 2016-2018 movies to Netflix during the second window from the pre-Disney Plus deal, and it would be non-exclusive? So if you don't remember, this was quite a big of an uproar when this kind of came out. So back when Disney Plus first launched in the United States, there were a number of films that weren't available on Disney Plus straight away. I think like Mary Poppins Returns and a few other things. And that's because Netflix had the rights to all the movies between 2016 and 2018. And I remember What's on Netflix reported at the time that the contract was that those movies might end up coming off the platform, as you said, in 2026. Now, since then, Disney did make a big deal many years ago where they got access to Daredevil, Grey's Anatomy, and a load of other stuff. I would imagine that in the last, 5 years, that they will have worked out an agreement that either the movies, I wouldn't be surprised if the movies still go to Netflix, but they'll be non-exclusive and they don't leave Disney Plus. That will be the best thing. For ESPN, Netflix still gets the content they paid for and they get a bit of money back, or don't have to pay as much, whichever way it works. And they won't want to lose face. They might have already, I suspect this already got worked out. I'd imagine in that big Netflix deal. I can't imagine they wouldn't have, but I still suspect Netflix will get those movies back. Keenan says, what do you think of WWE's contract with ESPN impacting Disney? I mean, it's good news for ESPN. Definitely extra content. It was a bit of a win. It's just a win-win round. And the only question I do have now is what's going to happen to the NXT PLEs. Because, I mean, there's one tonight. I don't know quite what's going to happen with them moving forward in the US, where they'll end up. Are they going to go to ESPN? Are they going to go to Peacock? Are they going to go to another streaming service and people and WWE fans can get even more pissed off? They've got to get another streaming service. Yeah, a bit weird. Miles says, what's your opinion on Disney aiming to produce more live action films under David Grunberg and Doria leadership at Disney Live Action? Good. I think we need more live action movies that are cheap and, things like not necessarily remakes and sequels, but I think having things like more of the amateur. Personally, I think Eeny Meeny should have gone out in cinemas. Swiped. They should have just sent them out to cinemas just to kind of do like 50, 100 million, bing, bada, boom, get them in, get them out, move them on to streaming, and they would have been bigger movies. I think they should just put them all on there because they're not going to make a huge amount of money, but they'll make more money than they would have just done on Hulu. Mama says currently live feed NBS, CBS, and Fox can be streamed on Peacock, Paramount, and Fox One. Why do you think Disney has not added ESPN either to Hulu on Disney Plus, or will they do it? I think there's a lot of the problems is who the ABC channels around the country have different rights for that. Also, it's very complicated with who owns the right there. You've got to put in your login, where you live. It's a very complicated system, and I think it is just complicated. And again, they don't want to undermine and then you're probably going to have to put in your postcode, and then you get your local version, and that company might not want it to be, and then there might be. I know there's some other problems that I think the US government is looking into, like these local cable companies of the big. There's a lot of the trouble is you've got the world changing faster than politics can deal with, and I think there's got to be a lot more complicated than anything. But it's like here in the UK, you can get, if you watch BBC, you can go on the BBC app and you can watch all the channels. You go onto ITV, you can watch all the channels. If you can go on the channel, I would love them to have the one app where you can flip them like a normal television, but you can access all those channels through it. So we've kind of got that already. Bubak says, do you think Fox One can compete with other streaming services? Probably not. To me, it feels a little bit like this was the back launch, the idea. They couldn't do venue, so they're getting it through the back door, where we're probably going to end up with a bundle where you can get Disney Plus with ESPN Unlimited and Max and Bleacher Report and Fox Sports. There's going to be a bundle where they all end up coming together. I wouldn't be surprised. Kelly says apparently the WWE on ESPN will start a lot earlier than expected on September the 20th before the kickoff event. Do you feel it's risky considering ESPN only has a deal for 4 PLEs in 2025? Not really. I think it's less confusing. It's a little bit like, okay, they're coming to ESPN and it's starting next month. Clash in Paris is going to be the last one. So I think that's probably better in the long run. Fans can just get used to it quite quickly. Looking forward to seeing what happens with Clash in Paris. I'm going to one of the house shows this week, so I get to see WWE live this week. So I'm looking forward to that. Matt says, when do you think the NFL Network channel will be added to Disney Plus? They've got to complete the deal. That's the big problem. It might not be completed till next year. That's when they can do something. They've got to. At the minute, they can only offer it as the bundle, because once they get full access to it, that's when I would imagine they're going to merge it in with the ESPN app. Elias says, courtesy of National Geographic, it's interesting how Disney will align with IP of other studios. Curious if you had any options, any thoughts on this. Yeah, it's a bit odd, wasn't it? Doing like it, but it just kind of shows that they're willing to if they can leech a little bit off of somebody else's IP, go for it. That's the way I look at it. Miles says, could Pixar revive theatrical shorts following the debut of Carl's Date with Elemental, particularly with their 40th anniversary? Was there any short that went before Elio? Because I didn't see it in cinemas. I would love it too. I think it's a nice little bonus. I think it's good. I think it's good around, but it's whether or not, it's just extra money for stuff, isn't it? Elliot says, if you were in charge of Disney, how often would you be releasing legacy content, animated movies, live action movies, etc.? So when you talk about just legacy, all of that, me personally, if I was Bob right now, I would put together a team, and I would basically create them as the Disney Archives, Disney team, and I would give them a target of 2 titles a week to get re-release them on like Amazon Prime and Apple TV for the movies, get them out there so people can buy them, but be adding a TV show or a movie a week, and you do that for as long as you need to, because they've got this massive archive of old movies from Disney and Fox, etc., especially the Fox side. That's the way they can compete with Netflix, with offering something that they don't have. Use it. You get, instead of spending all this money on new content, Get that old content on there. It might not do as well, but it's got to be better. I definitely feel like with movies, if they've got the original films of, getting them restored and put onto, 4K or whatever it is, and modern, that's a lot easier. Some of the TV shows from the 80s and 90s might be more difficult because they were filmed on tape, and that might be the problem. But anything filmed on film, I think they should be like, look, let's not spend, let's stop spending, they could do one less TV series a year and just restore stuff and just be releasing it all the time. Bubba Trolling says, do you think Disney will promote the new Disney and Hulu shows on ESPN than before? I mean, it would make sense that they would promote them, keep people engaged in the bundle. Okay, so do you think it's funny that they declared August 21st as National ESPN App Day? I don't think I would say I thought it was funny. I thought it was a bit lame myself. I didn't really, because all these National Day things are absolute wastes of time. I mean, what's it today? What have we got today? National Days. What is it today? So, what have we got? It is August 24th. It is National Maryland Day, National Waffle Day, and National Peach Pie Day. So again, it's just meaningless, isn't it? It's just, and tomorrow is National Park Service Founders Day, National Banana Split Day, National Secondhand Wardrobe Day, National Kiss and Makeup Day, and National Whiskey Sour Day. Like I said, they are just cheap promotional things. Nah. Right, let's jump back into the live chat. Let's see where we left off. Let's see where we were. So Sina says, do you think the merger fully by the end of 2026? Yeah. The Hulu and Disney Plus will be done fully by the end of next year, if not sooner. Kelly said the only negativity came from wrestling fans. They don't particularly like change, since I remember fans complaining when WWE Network moved to P. There was a lot of negative, because I'm much more into the WWE circle and wrestling, follow a lot of sites and stuff with that. There was a lot of negativity, just generally because it's going to cost people more. People have got used to paying $10 for the WWE Network or now Peacock. So if you are a WWE fan and you only watch WWE suddenly and you don't have ESPN, you are looking at paying $30 a month for a streaming service that you didn't want the day before the announcement. And that's being on. If they didn't want it for anything but WWE, so you're then, hold on a minute, I have to pay another $30. And definitely in the US, the apps are all over the place of how many different apps you can get. Keenan says, I think they should have waited to the Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber. NBC covers all the W, that won't be on the case anymore. Well, I don't think they needed to. I mean, ultimately, if the contract with Comcast was that they did however many pay-per-views this year, premium live events this year, and that's been fulfilled with Clash of the, and that's why they chucked out a few extra ones, then why wait? I think it's actually better to get it over with. Kelly says, we're now in the era of the rebundling, 100%. Babak says, there are rumors that Pluto and Tubi could merge with Paramount and Fox One. Could Disney also add 3 channels? I mean, I think offering streams as a free service is a good idea to help boost ad revenue and user numbers. I do think that would make sense. You add streams in and you add in a load of ads and you make it quite limited. I think definitely Pluto is probably going to end up merging with Paramount Plus eventually. They said they need to sort out all the tech. There's just too many apps, and they need to streamline. And Tubi is very successful, but I could see them moving the Tubi into Fox One in the hope that they can get more people to upgrade to it. Kelly says, I agree, but Disney is wanted to get a piece of Cena's retirement tours, since I have a feeling ESPN commissioned a documentary. That would be good. Mars says, do you think Predator Killers could get a special theatrical engagement just before the release of Predator Badlands or a double feature? They could do maybe a special thing for fans at some point, but I don't think it's going to do a huge amount. Kelly says, not every NBC channel is on Peacock. Same goes to CBS. Everything depends on your zip code. Yeah. And I only use, whenever I have to use anything in the US, it's either only one I use is 90210 or 10001, which is Madison Square Garden. Those are the only two postcodes I know. So sometimes when I go on a website and it tells me, and I need to use a postcode, 90210. That's all I use. Aaliyah says, if Disney and ABC keep the Academy Awards, my guess is that the local ABC channel will be worked out. I think that the other issues with the Oscars and why they're tempted by offers from others. I think it's going to go to YouTube. I think YouTube wants it. I think I personally do not think, if I was at ABC, I wouldn't be bothering with those award shows. I wouldn't be bothering wasting my money on it. I think they're a waste of time and effort in the 21st century. All people are going to get is all the highlights on social media. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Bobatronic says, I think they want people who subscribe to cable to use the ESPN more than if they cancel cable. People who use the app will be more likely to subscribe. Yeah, they're just getting you used to it. Babak says, I got the Fox One trial. It's $20 a month for sports, Fox News, and some TV shows. Definitely not worth it. Yeah. Kay tried it using their Hulu Live TV. Wouldn't pay for this if it was given. I didn't say 4 PLEs. I meant 4 cable providers. Oh, sorry, missed that. Scott from the NFL Network said it's going to take 2 years to get completed. Yeah, that's in reference to the NFL deal. Babak says, why do you think Disney allowed Fox to put all their shows on their streaming service? Did they have to make a new deal or was it already in the contract? I imagine they already made the deal because the deal only got made recently. Fox knew what they were doing because it was going to go to the venue anyway. I suspect it was a non-exclusive deal and Fox kind of got a little bit cheap. I'll be surprised if that deal actually gets renewed in 2029. Depends on what Fox is doing then. Aaliyah says, with ESPN Select, aka ESPN Plus, if it goes away, do you have any guesses what options will be given to those subscribers? I would guess if they did eventually get rid of it, it is upgrade or bugger off. That's probably going to be, it's going to be one of those two things. If they might give you a free couple of months on it, but they're going to, or give you a special deal for a little bit. But I think if they decide that's it, that's what they'll do. Okay, so I agree with getting more legacy content, but you can't put all the legacy content on there. I think they could do, but they could take a bit longer. Who makes up these national days anyway? Usually that's down to just PR companies. Babak says, do you think Disney needs to keep using the other studios like Warner Brothers and Sony instead of using 20th Century? They're probably going to use them a lot less moving forward because they're not going to want to pay for them and they have full rights to them. Sometimes I think it's just the fact that if the show comes through and it's good enough and it's a bit cheaper, that's what they've been doing. But I imagine they're going to use them less and less. And if you think about a lot of the ones that they do use them for, a lot of them are old shows. Ricardo says, starting 2026, HBO Max will finally arrive in the UK. Also, Disney Plus and Hulu will merge. You think that Disney and Warner's at the end released their streaming at the right time? I think they did get into streaming. I think they did get in right at the right time. They could have gone maybe a little earlier, but that's good. As far as the launch in the UK, for me, HBO Max is going to be a little bit like jump in for a month or two, watch a few shows, and then jump back out again. Like, I think for me at the minute, yeah, I mean, unless the Now TV deal gets really good and it's worth it, but I don't know. There's not a huge amount on HBO at the minute. I did cancel our Sky subscription on Now TV subscription just after The Last of Us finished, but I wasn't really watching a lot on there, to be honest. Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much for your continued support. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. With Skydance now owning Paramount, how would this affect the partner of Terry Perry? He's co-founder and running Bit Plus for them. So by the sounds of it, I did see an interview. They want to bring Bet into Paramount Plus, and his plan is to merge all that stuff in together. I don't think the guys from Skydance are really looking to. I think he even said that he is wanting to kind of really go heavily into getting all this content into Paramount Plus. I think he's looking at it now going, we need to consolidate. We need to get all this stuff together, sell off assets that we don't want. But Bet seems to be one that they do seem to want. But again, thank you so much. But as far as the partnership, I think as long as Skydance are willing to give him money, he'll probably stay there. Elliot says, Caleb, I think you're onto something with John Cena theory because he's personally involved with everything for ESPN. Yeah, ESPN taps Johnson. Yeah, there was a lot of promotion for it. Elliot says, Bellamy Puck doesn't think YouTube will get the Academy Awards, but you may be correct, especially if Disney think it's not worth the money. The other thing that's interesting to me with the Oscars is Disney has it, and then they go and license out that show to other networks in other countries. Like here in the UK, Disney licensed the Oscars to ITV rather than putting it on Disney Plus. So to me, that's a little bit like they'd rather sell it to somebody else than do something with it themselves. I just don't think it's pulling in the interest that it used to. Kelly says one thing's for certain with the WWE archives, which should expire on Peacock at the end of the year, while NXT will run on Peacock until March of 2026. I know that Saturday Night Main Event will be exclusive to Peacock going forward. I'm guessing. I suppose it depends if they're going to continue doing NXT PLEs. Maybe they might not do them. I don't know. So Suna says, how do you think Hulu will look on the merger when the standalone app doesn't exist anymore? Look at Disney Plus right now. That is how it's. I don't think it's going to look very different. There might be more differences on the front page, but I wouldn't expect Disney Plus to look too much different than it is now. Again, everything that's on Hulu will just be there within Disney Plus. I'm not expecting a huge amount of change personally. Kelly says, I'm hoping that when they schedule Saturday Night Main events, they center it around the NBA season since NBC's Fox has its own weekends. But it depends if they're the same audience, isn't it? I wish Saturday Night, Keenan says, I wish it was exclusive to NBC. It's not really a parody, it's just a special. I think nowadays, I don't really see much of a difference. The only difference for me is the Saturday Night Main events don't go on Netflix, so I have to watch them on YouTube. Babatronic says, do you think Disney should make a 30 for 30 for John Cena? Hell yeah. They did one for Ric Flair, so why not? Matt says, do you think Disney will require more sports channels? I don't think they need more channels. I think they'll probably move away from channels. They'll just have more live stuff because they can have as many channels as they want on streaming. Mara says, how do you think Disney's new live-action leadership can make new original films for Gen Z audience as per the recent article by Variety this week? So I think Disney needs to really get into some proper, deep research and start looking at what they are doing. I think there's no point in sugarcoating it. Disney screwed up Marvel and Star Wars for boys. They brought Marvel and Iger was very open about the fact that he brought Marvel and Star Wars to attract boys to the Disney brand. That's what he did. And what they've done is they then tried opening up Marvel and Star Wars to girls because that was their core audience. And they have alienated boys are not interested in it as much. All the movies, and there's just no point in sugarcoating it. That's just they lost a huge amount of interest in boys wanting to watch Marvel and Star Wars, and now they're having to look for other stuff to go after. I think anime is one way they can do it. I also think younger sort of teenage boys and 20-something boys are going to be interested in stuff that the people that are making these shows don't understand or don't grasp because they're trying to go back to what it was. All we've seen them do is just keep harping back to the 80s and the 90s of what used to work. So let's just do another remake. Let's do more Transformers. Let's do Thundercats. Let's do He-Man. Let's do everything that was, they're not really, I think anime is the direction that younger audiences are looking for, something new, something different. Just keep going back to franchises. I mean, they're not getting anything new. There's nothing fun. It's like it's like even the Marvel animated series. It's like X-Men 97. Well, is that really for a 13-year-old boy now? No. It's like X-Men 97. They're going to be like 97. Like that was when my granddad was born, kind of thing. Then you got, I think, Your Friendly Neighbor. It's like some of it's just so cheesy. And I think teenagers today are much more developed. They want if you're making a TV show for a 13-year-old, you need to be actually aiming it at an 18-year-old, because that's where the 13-year-old wants something that's a bit more grown up. There's that level of something between like the preschool Marvel shows. I don't know. I think they've just got to find new franchises, new ideas. They can't just keep going backwards and backwards to it. Big thank you to Alexander. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate your support. As an American, the Hulu app is superior to Disney Plus. If Disney Plus doesn't change or update their IU or tech, you might as well kiss subscribers goodbye. I do think you were 100% right. Disney is going to have to bring over a lot of the aspects of Hulu into Disney Plus to make it better. They have to. Now, they have been working on this for years. I fully expect they are going to be starting to make more changes to the Disney Plus app in the run-up to the merger. I have got no doubt that that's what they're going to do. All the focus has been on lately has been on the ESPN hub launch. Disney Plus is probably going to go through some changes, and they know that they're going to have to make it better. I just spoke about it so many times about how the front page has to be more dynamic, more integrated, more better. And I think that is going to come. Now, again, for me, I think the Disney Plus, I think sometimes with apps is you want them to be pretty straightforward and simple, but Disney Plus really does need a lot of upgrades. And I'm hoping, again, when they get Hulu out the way, they can then kind of focus down on one thing. It's like anything, isn't it? If you've got too many projects on the go, your team are being split, or whatever, your attention's being split. If you've got to focus on one, they can put all the development into that. But again, thank you so much, Alexander, for your super chat. Aaliyah says that's interesting that Disney doesn't bother with the Oscars internationally and instead they license it, knowing that unless it costs more, I wouldn't be surprised if they walk away. I just think it's a part of a bygone era that, yeah, the Oscars will continue. I just don't think audiences are interested in going, oh, what dress have you got on? Oh, look at me. I just don't think people care the same way. We've got more choices of what we can watch and what we can, and literally you can get all the highlights of the Oscars on your phone within seconds, and you don't have to sit. I'm never a big fan of award ceremonies anyway. Babak says, when do you think Disney will add more features? They're just going to keep adding them. Kelly says, I hope Disney doesn't cast Logan Paul in the movies. I would hope not. Babak says, oh no, we did that one. Babatronic says, when do you think the ESPN app will be an RSN for some teams? I don't know. I mean, I did read that they're doing something with maybe Major League Baseball. I mean, this whole thing with regional sports networks. Again, this is all just the companies just trying to cling onto this system that they've been using for so many years, and they don't want to give up the money. And the world is changing, and they just clinging to it. So I don't think and at the end of the day, Disney had to sell a load of those regional sports networks away anyway when they brought Fox. So I don't see why they would want them. Bobek says, why are some Disney Plus originals not downloadable, such as the Predators animated movie? I would say, ultimately, first off, with that, have you got the ad-free tier for both Hulu and Disney Plus? Because if you have the ad tier, I don't think you can download. That's one. And the other thing as well, there could be licenses, but my guess would be it's more than likely because of the ads. Keenan says, do you think American Idol should be simulcast on ABC like Disney Plus, like with Dancing with the Stars? Is American Idol live in America, or is it pre-recorded? Because if it is live, then I would say yes. But again, the cable companies, they're clinging to try and keeping their customers together. Barwick says, I think the competition show should be simulcast. Yeah, because there's not that many left. Oh, and you have the ad free. Well, you should be able to. Maybe there's just some weird, like, glitch on that file because it does seem a bit odd. Kelly says, I know fans are complaining about WViewer, a bit more complicated. They never met the Yankees fan from New York, where we need not only pay TV but also Prime Video and Apple TV for select games. It just seems crazy, doesn't it? Daniel says, with Freaky Friday looking like a successful movie at the box office, could this lead to a sequel or even give Disney motivation to make more small budget live action movies? I hope so. I think there's nothing wrong with just, making, you make a movie for much less. It doesn't have to do so well. I think the trouble is they got a bit hungry on these billion-dollar movies and kind of was like, well, let's just release all them and we don't need to do all these little ones. And I think they're going to come around to the idea of going little and often, put out a $20-30 million movie, make 50-100 million off it, then put it on streaming, bing bang boom, we're into money, rather than straight to streaming. Elliot says, do you think Disney Plus and Hulu will automatically merge, or will subscribers need to set up their profiles or choose a bundle for it to take effect? My pure guess, and this is again pure speculation, is they will move everybody from a Hulu subscription into a Disney Plus subscription, and anyone on the bundle will just be rebranded to Disney Plus, and I suspect they will just put the price to all of it to the same. So the bundle will be the new price for Disney Plus, and everyone just gets migrated into a Disney Plus account, depending on if you've got ads or not ads. The fact that it's all under the My Disney account already means that it's a lot easier for them to do this. And again, the bundle is only $10.99, so they will probably just rebrand the bundle to a Disney Plus subscriber and upgrade everyone that's a Hulu or a Disney Plus subscriber to the new app price, and give everyone, like, you've got 30 days or 60 days or whatever it is notice until the price goes up. I think if Disney want to avoid any negativity, I would just say the price is going to be $10.99 for the new Disney Plus and Hulu together, the same price as the bundle, and it's only $1 price rise if you aren't, and they'll probably get away with no negativity that way, or very little. There's always going to be someone that will moan, I want my dollar. Yeah, so I imagine because again, it's so much easier for them because they're already under that My Disney login. Keenan says, seems like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original movie is having a successful re-release. Could we see more films possibly in Disney doing that? They will do them if there's money to be made, but there's limited to how much. There's only so many big anniversary movies you can keep releasing. Again, it's like now, if I say, what movies were released today? So let's just have a look. What's that? Let me just have a look, see what we've got here. Let's just see what we've got, see if I can find this thing that I was looking for. They used to be sitting here, but now they've changed it. This website that they used to use. Nope, no, it's gone. There used to be a... Oh, never mind. Nope, the website I was using no longer does what I wanted it to do. That's typical. Yeah, I think as long as there's money to be made, they will continue to do so. Barbara Trolling says, do you think the next CEO of Disney will spin off ABC, and ESPN a few weeks ago said they hope that will do that? I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Disney seems to have gone in a different direction where it's going to just keep slicing off the money it can. ABC offers Disney a unique way of still being able to reach a large audience. There is still a large audience using them. And all the time they're making money, I think you're probably going to see a problem where who's going to buy all of these TV channels? With Comcast and Warner Brothers and stuff trying to sell off their assets, there's only going to be so much they can do. And I think from Disney's point of view, just keep making money with them while you still can. Matt says, do you think they'll get more ESPN collections? I'd imagine so. Last of the pre-done questions. Elliot says, how soon do you think we start seeing changes to Disney Plus to UI more collections? Again, I think now they can get the ESPN side of things over with. They'll probably spend a bit of time, I imagine, ironing out some of the problems, if there is any. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if, maybe first week of September, it's like, right, everyone, ESPN's in the bag. We're now working on the next one. All right, back into the live comments. Let's see what we've got here. Babak says, I think a sequel for Herbie Fully Loaded with Low Amp would be good. I think she probably would like to do some more different stuff. I imagine she'd get quite bored of just recapping everything. Mara says, what are your most anticipated Disney movies releasing next year? I mean, without doubt, it's going to be Doomsday and Spider-Man and Mandalorian for me. That's pretty easy. Kelly says, I know that 2003 Freaky Friday came out in the eyes. I agree. Got too hungry for big budget blockbusters, and we need the era of singles and doubles back. 100%. Because they kind of did it, but they ended up throwing all the singles and stuff onto Disney Plus and Hulu, and I think they've realized that wasn't necessarily going to work. Keenan says, on top of the Daniels question, do you think Disney could remake live-action movies like The Parent Trap or David Crockett? I think, again, they have to be really careful with doing too many remakes. They have to do original content. They can't keep churning over and over and over again. Now, Davy Crockett might have been gone for a while. Maybe they could do something with it because it's been a long time since it's done. Lean in maybe on the Yellowstone crowd for that. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I've never watched Davy Crockett. I just remember there being an attraction at Disney World. Kelly says, Rich from Lightshed is like Dave Meltzer, where they say the most ridiculous things. The good news is Lightshed doesn't rile up people like Meltzer does. Meltzer's going all over the place. I mean, he used to be really trusted, but he seems to have an absolute love for AEW, like he's getting paid. I will say, I think with Rich from Lightshed, he does sometimes come up with some good ideas. And I do follow him, and I see him when he pops up on CNBC and stuff. But he's very much, and you've got to remember, his focus is about making money now, and it's a very often his ideas are very much like short-sighted kind of make money now, sell, buy, sell, because it's an investment thing, rather than whereas we are fans and we're looking at the long term. He'd sell off half the stuff. I mean, he wanted Disney to go all in on streaming. And then he said, no, we were wrong. It's like, he's pushing for this, pushing for that, and he changes his mind. And sometimes it does look a little bit like what he wants them to do is, again, it's sometimes very short-sighted and not for the long play. Miles says, Iger could implement the singles and double strategy just as he prepares to name a successor. I don't think that they are. I don't think he's going yet. Kay says, I agree. There's a place for small budgets at blockbusters. I think, again, they should have released Eeny Meeny and Swiped, etc. They should have put them out in cinemas. Don't do a huge budget for it. Just put it out. Let people go for it. If people don't like, if they're going to put like the Roses, treat them like Searchlight picture films. Just pop them out with a little bit of advertising, and that's it. It says, Rich or David are critical of ESPN. Well, Dave Meltzer's a wrestling guy, and he's just very anti-WWE right now. Everything he's getting, Rich likes, again, there's a lot of people not, within the linear networks are dying, and there's a lot of blood in the water with investors about that. A bit sharks just jumping around it. Right. Okay. So on that note, any last minute questions want to come in? If there aren't any, that will be the end of the stream. I believe, did I see a comment? I think, did I miss one? No, I don't think so. Yeah, he used to own the Wrestling Observer Newsline. He did say rational take as being that ESPN ecosystem is good for wrestling, but what he says will get him a civil lawsuit. See, I used to read the Wrestling Observer all the time, years and years ago, but I just don't bother with it anymore. Just don't bother. So next week I will be back, same time, same place, same time. So I'll be back for another live Q&A. So big thank you again to everyone in the live chat. A big thank you to Miles, Chris, Derek, and Alexander for your super chats. I really do appreciate your support. I also would like to thank everyone in the live chat for being a YouTube channel member, and also our patrons as well for sending in questions. Again, there'll be a post up later in the week asking for questions for next week. And on that note, guys, thank you all, and I shall see you guys soon. Tally ho, laters.